now moving to the rear end of the car, this is the most critical part of the B6d and getting it to work on that low to medium grip. The front end's fairly stock standard with a few option parts and a couple of spaces here or there, but the rear end is really where all the magic happens. Now all the parts that we use are factory option parts. They don't require any really special modification or anything like that. They're just a few light fitment things. The most critical thing that I would suggest to everyone are your 25 gram brass C block and your 12 gram just released from Team Associated brass D block. Now this brass C block, the 25 gram, is originally designed for the B6 in laydown configuration. If you were to put this in your B6d, your motor will actually foul on this hard edge here. So what you need to do is take at it with a Dremel, just Dremel a couple of mil off the leading edge there. What I'll do is I'll Dremel that down, just take a little bit off, and I'll show you how much you actually do need to take off. Just use a sanding drum, and that will get the job done. Just have to make sure that the sanding drum's fairly new, and it'll make short work of that. There, and again the brass D, no fitment, no anything like that required, just the extra pills in the rear, and that'll get you off and going. The next one, and it's probably the second on the list for factory options parts for the rear, is the aluminium rear hubs. Now these are the aluminium rear hubs off the B5 series, but they do work on the B6, and Team Associated is still selling these. I do believe that there's some new ones coming out with the optional height adjustments that the B6 offers. What we've found with these is they really lock in the rear end of the car, and we believe it's mainly because of the extra weight over the rear tyre. It's marginal, but it does make a fair difference. Also, that there's a lot less flex in it, so it's transferring a lot of those forces directly to the driveline, and also making the suspension work harder and whatnot. So it settles the car down, and it also locks it in, which has been a really, really big benefit. We're also using, we're using the larger diameter washers there. As some of you may have experienced, these ball studs, if you cop a really hard hit, will snap, and they'll snap in that thread, and that's the worst thing that can happen, is because you end up having to throw out or tap the hole there to be able to get the snapped ball stud out, or you just throw out the hub and you've got a wasted hub. So pretty much all the team guys have been running these larger diameter washers, and all they do is they literally just evenly distribute the forces there, giving you a little bit more surface area. So that they're a really, really good part, and I suggest to use them on any vertical ball stud in the car that you can actually fit them on. Same with the rear camber link, just using the larger washers, nothing special there. And the second last part is the tall rear tower. With this, you need to run the taller rear bodies, so you'll need to get the larger rear bodies to go with that. The B6d comes with a shorter rear body. This is completely fine. It does work, and it's no problems using the shorter rear body. All we've found is if you want a little bit plusher landing off jumps and a little bit more settled car, the longer body with the longer tower really does make a difference. But like I said, it's completely marginal, and if you don't want to spend the little extra coin to get the longer bodies, you can use these off your old B5 as well, because those bodies will fit, and all you'll need is the tower. Last part, and this one's completely optional. It's totally up to you what you want to do. We use these rear arms. Now, on first glance, they look normal, but they're actually the rear arm of a B5 rear motor car. The big difference between these arms and the arms that come with a kit is that they're 2 to 3 mil shorter in wheelbase, and they're slightly more swept forward. So what it does is it shortens the wheelbase of the car, puts more weight over the rear driveline, and gives you a lot better traction. Now the team guys have been dremeling or sanding down the leading edge on the B6 arms and just spacing them forward. That gets the job done, has the same effect, and will give you the same performance. The only reason I'm running the B5 rear motor arms until they go out of stock is literally you don't have to do anything, you chuck them on the car and you still maintain the strength and rigidity instead of sanding down or dremeling down arms. The only downside of using the B5 rear motor arms is you lose the front mount option on the car. But in all honesty, if you're running a B6d on outdoor low to medium grip, you're never going to use the front mount there. And if you are going to a higher grip situation, you chuck the B6 arms on and put your shocks on the front of the arms there. So they're all the option parts that we use with the B6d. I'll put a list of all the part numbers that we use, and I'll show you any fitment and especially the dremeling of that brass C block to get that to fit.